Hey everybody, welcome back to my Dark Souls Remastered Filthy Casual run. My name is Rob, and today I'm coming at you with a little post-commentary because for whatever reason, when I recorded this footage, my microphone decided to not pick up my voice. So I'm going to try my hand at post-commentary for the first time, and immediately you'll notice that my character has got some different armor set on, and pretty much the same rings, same weapon loadout. And today, in this episode, I'm going to demonstrate the last few things I want to get in the, I almost said Valley of Defilement, in Blight Town. There you can see my updated stats as well. Excuse me. But yeah, there's still a few things I want to get, a couple of different things I want to show, and ultimately we're going to end up back at the Undead Parish. So with that being said, I'm trying to remember what all I was actually commentating on during this part. Kind of showing the shards and everything I farmed for. Got a lot of green titanite shards because, like I had said previously, when you kill the slugs and they drop the green ones, they'll drop you a stack of 5 at a time. So that's great if you want to get you some fire or divine or magic weapons. And it also can serve a different purpose, as I'll demonstrate in later on in the playthrough. So right away we're going to come up here this little plank walkway and go up this ladder. Got to make sure I have that spider shield equipped because we're about to deal with the last few toxic blow dart guys that we're going to have to worry about in Blight Town. Step down onto this water wheel. This kind of serves as an elevator to get up out of here. And sometimes you can have some trouble stepping off of this thing without falling down, but I found if you stay on it until you reach the apex right there, you can just kind of walk down onto the planks without having to worry about falling. You come up here. Got another chaos bug here in the way. Dealt with plenty of those, so he's no problem either. Mosquitoes are always obnoxious though. Always make sure you have your mosquito repellent. So, what I'm going to show first is crossing over this branch, which it's easiest if you just kind of not really sprint, but just walk at full speed over it. Because the mechanics are kind of weird that if you're walking over it slowly, it seems like you're actually more likely to fall. Or at least that's what I've experienced playing the game. So you come over here, and there's a corpse with an item on it. Another mosquito, of course, will deal with him. And you pillage this corpse and you get the Crimson set, which we haven't seen the character that wears that yet. We also get the 10 Banishment Catalyst. Open up this chest, get a sorcery, which is remedy. And here I'm going to pause it real quick, and when I was commentating I read off the description of everything, but I'm just going to kind of leave it up there. It's, you know, gives hints to the sealers and everything. Goes into the lore a little bit about them and what they do, but we haven't met the first sealer of the playthrough yet. There's an interesting story behind them and the events of, you know, the flooding of New Londo and everything. And of course the 10 Banishment Catalyst. I think I demonstrate here in a second that you can actually use it as a kind of a pretty viable melee weapon for mages. You know, it's not the best by any means. It's definitely no Zweihander or Claymore or Halberd or anything, but it does have a melee attack that, you know, you can actually use early in the game if you're a mage and you're just strictly raising intelligence and nothing else. It can function pretty well in that role. Because your castings will only get you so far. Once they run out, you know, you gotta rely on your melee abilities. Put that halberd back on. We come over here to the remedy sorcery. You can kind of read the description of that. It's got more lore implications of one of the sealers that left New Londo. But basically how it functions is you can cast it and it'll cure poison and toxic. I'm not sure if it works on bleed. I don't think it does, and I'm also fairly certain it doesn't work on curse, because there is a separate sorcery you can get that will banish curses, or at least curse build up. So anyway, We get all that stuff, and we're going to backtrack back over this branch. As you can see, I'm already getting some toxic blow darts shot at me. We're going to deal with that guy here in a second. Come back around here where we were. There's another ladder to go up. As you can see, it's highlighted by a torch. We come up here. Instead of getting on that ladder to the left, you just kind of keep going. Thankfully, these guys are easy enough to deal with. There is a lot of them though, so just kind of hold up that spider shield and keep going. If anybody that's watching this has ever played... Excuse me real quick, yeah, that was lock on kind of betraying me there. Almost made me fall off the ledge. But if anybody's watching this that's ever played Demon Souls, some of the grunts and sounds that these toxic blow dart guys make when you kill them are... I'm pretty sure they are, at least they sound like they're voice clips from Demon Souls actually. Like that one right there, that groan that one just made. Sounded very much like a groan from the Dreglings from Demon Souls, if I'm remembering correctly. Go around there and get a soul item. As of right now, I'm kind of looking at the situation and kind of calculating how I want to approach it. There's a lot of those, what I'd refer to as habanero chihuahuas or whatever. I guess I could call them ghost puppers. Kind of having a little fun with oral decoy. It works on a lot of enemies to get them off of you for a second, but doesn't last very long, as you can see. So what I ultimately decided to do here is do a backstep and a plunging attack, which unfortunately only got one of them. And even though they're smaller in size, they can still stun lock you to death like full-size dogs can. So I'm kind of rolling around here trying to get out of the way, separate them where I can deal with them and not have to face two at a time. Good thing about that fire breath is if you avoid it, you can pretty much just strafe to the side and get some free damage on them. And there's two more of the ghost puppers. Get it? Like ghost peppers. Right in front of me, and then two right here at that item I want to get at. And I can remember when I was recording this, I backed off there for a second because I thought I had heard the two that are directly in front of me. It sounded like they were moving in on this little cubby hole here, and I thought I was about to get pincer attacked. And I actually thought I heard it a couple of times. I stopped and did a double take. So we get a Firekeeper soul. Interesting that we would find one in this particular area behind some bars. Kind of reminds you of a certain other Firekeeper, which is significant. I think that was very deliberate on the part of the developers because, as y'all know, a lot of times, you know, the Lautrec, when he was hanging out at Firelink Shrine, he was kind of standing there across from the Firekeeper. And it's pretty common knowledge now that at some point in the game he'll, you know, actually kill her, and you have to do a quest where you get her soul back and return it and everything. But as soon as you grab that particular Firekeeper's soul, that is what triggers the event of Lautrec killing the Firekeeper and heading to an area further in the game. Interesting, don't you think? So we skip ahead back here to the Firekeeper of Quelaag's domain, known as the Fair Lady. I'm going to go ahead and take that Firekeeper soul I just got to her and upgrade my Estus Flask. There we go. I'm going to show a little side thing you can do here that increases and kind of changes up the dialogue you get with Angie, little egg servant that was standing there, and unlocks something that he'll sell to you that you can't get any other way in the game. As far as I know, the game never offers any type of hint that you can do this, and I learned it from watching different Dark Souls videos and playthroughs. I probably learned it from watching one of Epic Name Bro's gameplay videos or something. But you come out here to these egg servants. For the most part, they're not hostile, but there's two in particular that will aggro on you as soon as you approach them. You have to kind of stand there and allow them to do a certain attack on you, which will be demonstrated here shortly. It's that lunging grab attack where their back opens up, maggot pops out, kind of takes a chomp out of your head. There's like an invisible kind of build-up to a status ailment that causes. Kind of an ailment, I guess. And as far as I know, the only way to know that it's been inflicted upon you is a sign that your character will give off, which he hasn't done yet. I'll end up demonstrating that. And I think it's still possible for it to be inflicted on you while you have a headpiece equipped. But just from my observations, it seems like it's inflicted on you much more quickly if you have nothing on your head. Which here in a second I'm actually going to remove my ninja mask to try and hasten the process. Kind of back off a little bit, heal so they don't kill me. And I'm waiting to see if my character gives that sign or not, which he did not. Goodness, my cat's sitting across the room just let out a big sneeze. It sounded funny. So, get grabbed again. Kind of just keep repeating the process over and over until we get the results we want. Just like any of the egg keepers, it's best to not attack these guys, because if you kill them, their egg sacs will explode and there's just those maggots everywhere. They have a tricky hitbox, and they also can stun lock you to death very quickly. There we go. Got that headpiece off. Getting basically molested by these things. It's so weird how when you take damage in this game, the vaguely sexual groans of the character just, I don't know, it's just kind of uncomfortable sounding to me. Weird sounding anyway. So if y'all noticed just a second ago, a character avatar actually gave us a sign that he's infected with that parasite. I'm going to demonstrate it here. If you stand still for a second, it's the only time in the game he'll do this. There we go. When you see your character scratching its head, it's only a matter of time. So we run on back to the bonfire where the Fair Lady and Inky, I guess that's how you pronounce his name, are hanging out. And I actually kind of cut out the I do a cut here because just standing at the wall staring at the camera, I counted it took a good 2.5 minutes to actually undergo this transformation that I'm waiting on. So make the cut right here, and then next thing you know, bam, got a hideous tumor on our heads. Now that thing can do a couple of things. It does take souls from you and eventually will grow, if I'm not mistaken. And it'll give you like an attack, I'm not sure how you do it, where the maggot jumps out of the top and, you know, strikes an enemy. I've never actually done it, I've just seen it done. So I don't know how many souls you actually have to give the thing before it happens, or how you actually do that maggot attack, but I'm not going to really demonstrate this in the playthrough because, I mean, to me it's not very useful. It'd be kind of a waste of my time and souls.
You're just like me. Your dedication is fully apparent. Only, well, your head looks awful. Why not try this? I've no use for it any longer.
Yeah, so, of course, Angie notices it immediately. Gets some different dialogue from him, and he gives you the antidote to cure that parasite, to relieve yourself from it. I guess part of being a true Chaos Servant is, you know, letting those eggs grow out of your back, but not necessarily your face, for whatever reason. So you take the egg vermifuge, and just like that, you're rid of it.
Oh, hello. What is it that you need?
Engie, of course, is still much more friendly to you.
Do you have an interest in pyromancy? If you have, I shall share my flame with you.
So we'll say yes, of course, and he actually gives you another pyromancy flame, even if you've got one already, which is kind of cool.
You have served our fair lady well. Now, let this strength be yours.
Yeah, interesting how he changes his tone when he sees that you self-inflicted that parasite on yourself. Becomes a lot less condescending. And as you can see now, he sells the egg vermifuge as well as poison mist and toxic mist. That's the only way you can get toxic mist in the game, is by going through this little sub-quest. Otherwise, you know, we already raided poison mist from the corpse at the bottom of Blight Town that had the pyromancer set on it. And of course there's lore implications on poison and toxic mist about Ingi and how he got banished from the Great Swamp because of his pyromancies and everything. Would have probably made him poisonous like Blight Town, or at least similarly. Not gonna buy either one from him for the time being though. I'm actually gonna use a homeward bone to go back to the lower Blight Town bonfire. And at this point, you know, we've gotten the little extra stuff you can get. Gotten the Firekeeper's Soul, upgraded our flask, got the Crimson Sealer set. Just putting the Grass Crest Shield back on for that stamina regen so we can just head on up out of here. I'm about halfway through the video now. The other half is just gonna kind of be getting out and going back to the Undead Parish. And showing a neat little Easter egg here. When I come up, I actually remember to do it at this point. Which is just kind of goes to show FromSoft's sense of humor when they're making their games. You got this water wheel here that's, you know, serving as an elevator. It's like, what's actually keeping it moving? There's no running water in Blight Town anywhere. But there is a reason that it spins. Once I get up here and probably deal with this mosquito using oral decoy, I kind of demonstrate that. There we go. I love using combustion on those things. Bows and crossbows actually work really well on them also when you're locked on. So you don't necessarily have to have pyromancy for them. But if you look there, there's one of those little ghost puppers just walking along on that wheel, keeping it spinning. That's freaking hilarious to me. Okay, so we're going back up where we were last time. Instead of going into that other area, we're just going to get on the ladder and head up. Don't have any more toxic blow dart guys to worry about because we took care of them a few minutes ago. You just keep climbing up. Got a few more chaos bugs, nothing to worry about. Sorry about that, y'all. Had to pause the voice recording momentarily. That little jingle you just heard in the video was the Roomba deciding to turn on. I got my wife a Roomba for Christmas, and still kind of getting used to a vacuum cleaner that plays music and just turns on randomly early in the morning. So one of those funny things there. So we climbed up further, we got the key to New Londo and the lore implications therein. Of course, like I said earlier in the playthrough, if you're ever wondering where to go in Dark Souls and you grab a key, just read the description. A lot of times it'll somewhat point you where you need to go. Alright, so we're heading down this tunnel. We had the infested barbarians greet us on our way in, and of course they greet us on our way out. Good thing about these enemies, if you're a strength build and you want a really decent strength weapon, you can farm them for their clubs actually, which have slightly lower total damage than the giant club that you get from lower Blight Town, but it has an innate poison damage ability, which is kind of interesting. It's also a little bit more lightweight, and in my opinion has a very slightly better moveset, but not going to bother with it on this playthrough, but it's there if you want it. So finally we're seeing a light at the end of the tunnel. And we come to the Valley of the Drakes. I'm not going to explore this area just yet in the playthrough, but I will. The large soul of a nameless soldier. and use that key to New Londo Ruins, which you can actually open with the master key. And if you come down from the other side, you can open that door and enter Blight Town through that cave right there, and just skip more than half of the area and go straight to Quelaag. Which, I mean, is common knowledge among Dark Souls players now, but if you happen to be watching this and you never played it before, there you go. So here we are in New Londo Ruins. Hasn't changed any. Hollows are still hanging out, doing hollow things. So we're gonna head back up towards Firelink Shrine now. This little soul item that I missed previously. I don't know if y'all can hear that Roomba moving around in the house, but it is getting after it. It's definitely keeping the floors cleaner. You know, we have cats, and a lot of times it's hard to keep cat fur from covering everything because they shed so much. I think it's wandering behind my recliner at the moment. So we take this elevator back up to Firelink Shrine. We are going to see a couple of things that have changed from when we've been gone. If you're playing for the first time, not expecting it, and you haven't killed Lautrec by now, you're going to have a semi-unpleasant surprise. See an item drop in front of the Firekeeper's little cage there with her armor set called the Dingy set and a black eye orb. Alright, actually pause the recording there for a little bit. Roomba decided to start vacuuming around the chair. It's a funny thing I found about commentaries, you really never know what's going to happen. So anyway, as you can see, when you go to prompt the little cage where Firekeeper was originally sitting, it just says dead, and you can select OK. That's kind of dark. The bonfire, of course, is inactive because the Firekeeper is not there to keep it active. I'm going to read the description of the Black Eye Orb, which is a PvE item that simulates a PvP item called the... which one is it? It's not the Red Eye Orb, it's the Blue Eye Orb. That's the one, yeah. You can tell I haven't done much with the Dark Moon Covenant. But it kind of serves as a way to introduce the player to these items and kind of how they work. It's almost kind of like a tutorial for doing invasions. And then I read the Dingy Hood and the Bloodstained Skirt. It's got interesting lore implications, of course, like most items in Dark Souls. So for the time being, we're not going to be able to use the Firelink Shrine bonfire. So we're going to have to pretty much use the Undead Parish bonfire. That's the one I use whenever I get to this point in the game because it's the next closest one, besides going into the catacombs, and that's just kind of a pain.
Second bell? That is incredible, I must say. But now we have a new problem. It's noisy, it snores, and its breath is lethal. This is no laughing matter, I tell you.
Yep, you just
Damn,
watched a Firekeeper get
that
murdered.
stench. And I was really beginning to like it here. Oh, maybe it's time I do something about it.
Yeah, get up off your rear end for once. But as we explore Firelink Shrine, the rest of the way we'll soon find out what he's talking about.
You've been stranger these days. Why? What spectacular pyromancy? Tell me about it. I have never seen anything like it.
He's actually commenting on the Chaos Fireball we get from joining the Chaos Covenant. If you choose to tell him about it, he'll wander into Blight Town, and next time you see him, he'll be hollow. I like Laurentius, so I always select no. But that pretty much finishes out his quest. Not sure if he goes down there and can't find Quelana, or if he dies one too many times from the poison swamp and the monsters therein, or for whatever reason, he does go hollow.
I suppose I was mistaken. In any case, I definitely trust you. Apologies, my friend. Forget that I said anything.
See, Laurentius is so good-natured, he's not even spiteful towards you for not revealing the secrets of the pyromancy you brought back to Firelink Shrine. Kind of looking through his stuff again. Debating whether I want to buy anything or modify my pyromancy flame for the time being.
Goodbye then. Be safe, friend. Don't you dare go hollow.
Ultimately, I'm going to have another use for the souls. So we're going to come over here and see what old Crestfallen was talking about. Find the source of that snoring we heard earlier in the playthrough. Yeah, isn't that a sight? Yep. And it talks too.
Hello. Was it you who rang the bell of awakening? I am the primordial serpent, King Seeker Framt, close friend of the great Lord Gwyn, chosen undead, who has rung the bell of awakening. I wish to elucidate your fate. Do you seek such enlightenment? Very well. Then I am pleased to share. Chosen undead, your fate is to succeed the great Lord Gwyn, so that you may link the fire, cast away the dark, and undo the curse of the undead. To this end, you must visit Anor Londo and acquire the Lord Vessel.
Yep.
I am pleased to see you well. Is it something urgent?
Old Fram definitely makes it sound like we're on a glorious quest, doesn't he? He does serve several different uses, though. You can feed him different Titanite shards to get him to break them down into smaller versions. One of the things I like to use, a lot of those extra green shards I get, if I want more just plain Titanite shards, I can feed him one of those, and you get 5 plain Titanite shards for him. So if you want to upgrade a lot of different weapons, it can be really helpful for that.
Chosen undead, I remain here and await thee.
Also, I really like the voice acting that they did for Frampt. That voice actor did a really, really good job on voicing him. Really, all the voice acting in Dark Souls is excellent, in my opinion. Yeah, so you see me feeding him several green Titanite shards to collect on the regular Titanite shards for the few different weapons I want to upgrade when I get back to the Undead Parish. Also demonstrating you can feed him items for souls, which is kind of like selling them. I'm not sure why they decided to keep you from being able to trade items off to the merchants for souls, but for whatever reason they did. So if you got a lot of different things you don't plan on using, you can just take them to Frampt, get him to eat them, and you'll get souls for them. Every time he eats something, he makes that horrible noise. I just got through talking about his good voice acting, but that, like, I'm not really sure what they were going for. Get a good bit of souls for the Drake Sword, which I don't plan on using, so why not? He seems to like any dragon associated item you get. Gives you a lot of souls for them. Most things, as you can see, it's like 50 souls. Again, the Dragon King Great Axe, 5,000 souls. Not going to use it on this character, so might as well. He also gives you a good bit for a Pyromancy Flame. Just kind of scanning my inventory at the moment, seeing if there's anything I can get a decent amount of souls for that I don't plan on using. Yeah, ultimately I decide to
seek the realm of lords must brave Sen's fortress, a deadly house of traps. Many have gone before you, but none have returned. Fate has chosen you, but proceed with caution.
Yeah, ultimately I just decided to sell those few things that I've got.
Chosen undead. I remain here and await thee.
Because I do like holding on to a lot of the weapons I get just in case. So that was Kingseeker Framped. I'm going to go up the elevator, back to the Undead Parish. Video is actually almost over. It's just a couple of minutes left. But I was pretty happy with how this particular run turned out. It's just a shame I wasn't able to capture the original commentary. I was able to show pretty much everything I wanted to. And of course, everything's the same in this area. Same 3 hollows. Wouldn't really expect to see anything new during a new game cycle. Maybe if I got Gravelorded on New Game Plus. I haven't really talked about the Gravelord Covenant. I think I actually show that some in the next video I have recorded, which I'm also going to have to do some post-commentary on. I managed to record 2 videos back to back, and neither one of them picked up my voice. It's a shame, but post-commentary hasn't been so bad. It's definitely got its benefits. You can pause anytime you need to when your Roomba wakes up and decides to make noise all around. So gonna rest at the bonfire, put all those upgrade materials to good use. And otherwise, that's it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching, putting up with the noise. I'll see you soon with some more Dark Souls, and until then, take care.